We're going to have a special presentation by the mayor. Ezek?
Sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, most of you have the agenda tonight, and it didn't include this presentation. At this time, I'd like to call out Honorable Mayor Arakawa, and he's going to give some remarks, and then we have a special presentation for one of our members in the audience tonight.
Thank you very much. We're deviating a little bit from the format, but we'll adjust. I was asked to speak 3 to 5 minutes on several topics, and also we have Ellie Cochran, who's representing the council, who's going to be speaking a little bit. So what I've done is I've talked to her a little bit. We're splitting up some of the topics that are going to be happening over here, just so that I can keep it within a reasonable time frame and she can keep it within a reasonable time frame. Now, some of the things that we want to be able to talk about, and things that we've been doing in Lahaina, for instance, we started up the county presence in the Halloween event this past year. Now, we want to be perfectly clear because there was some confusion and there was a deliberate attempt to confuse the issue. Halloween has been going on the last 4 years that we were not here. People were actually out in the streets doing the celebrations, but it was very unsafe, and a lot of the issues that were brought up about not having places secured, not having enough lights, all the costumes that were inappropriate, all these things were occurring. And there was no supervision or no guidance to be able to direct what the community wanted and what the community needed. As the administration, we looked at these challenges, and what we did was we set out to adjust to be able to work with these challenges and to address them. So when Halloween occurred, we did a public announcement. We wanted the costumes to be reasonable. We also announced very clearly that we were going to close the streets so that it would be safer. We brought security in so that anyone who was drunk or anyone who was behaving inappropriately would be protected, and we were going to have enforcement. We lit up a lot of the dark areas, so places where people were afraid and where people might get into a fight was now lit up, and we had enforcement officers ready to be able to control and take care of the situation. Most of the areas that were considered areas that needed to be protected because of cultural significance had some kind of a protection. That's what the county actually did. So contrary to what was being put out there, we were not in here to be, what did we say, cultural cleansing of the Hawaiian community. That had absolutely nothing to do with it. What we were trying to do was protect the community and make this a much more fun event and a safe event. And I think we were very successful, and we're planning to do this again next year. Another thing that we've been working on very strongly is to be able to create more business. And one of the great success stories we had in Wailuku was the First Friday event. First Friday brought a lot of people, and there are literally thousands of people that are going to Wailuku, and the vendors there are appreciating it, and the store owners are beginning to appreciate a lot of the traffic that's coming there. So we've opened it up so that we have a Friday event here in Lahaina as well, and I believe that's coming up very shortly, like tomorrow. The whole idea behind the event is to be able to stimulate the economy, have a place where a lot of our youth can actually come out, enjoy music, enjoy the entertainment, be able to visit a lot of the vendors that we have. You know, one of the major complaints we have from our youth is that there's no place to just hang around and do something that's inexpensive. So this is one of our ways to be able to work with the various communities, and we're starting the Friday events, and I think it's going to be very, very successful here. Makawao and Paia have both had events as well, and they're very successful there. They're stimulating a lot of the economy, the economic engines that we need to be able to stimulate. So we're going to continue these events. And there's other things that we can also do here in Lahaina to be able to perpetuate this kind of activity during the weeks. One of the venues we're also working with is in the back of this Civic Center to be able to have some shows that are going to be held on a regular basis. That's being developed right now. So an area that we're not utilizing at all, we're looking at probably putting up Hawaiian shows that will be able to draw people and utilize our space and be able to create economic engine here. And we're also being very supportive of a lot of the other events that have traditionally been in Lahaina. And over at the mill now, we had what was formerly the Taste of Lahaina is being pushed, and we're hoping to grow that into a much bigger event as well. So with the cooperation of the business people here and members of the community, we're trying to work with you to make sure that this community can become prosperous again, and we can start getting all the promotional up that we need to do. So as a government, our job is to try and help to make this community the best place to live and to be able to make sure that everybody is comfortable. So we're working on those things. We are also looking at trying to be able to develop the controls we need for what has become a traditionally bad situation, which is a need for odor control over in Lahaina by the treatment plant. So thanks, Bob. There are some things that we've done in the past that we've tried to control the odor. Lahaina 1, the pump station, just before the treatment plant on the Lahaina side, there's an odor control unit, a tower that was built there. We're going to see if we can control the odors at the points that they're originating. Lahaina 2 needs to have an odor control unit, and environmental management is working on an odor control unit there. Also within the plant, we're going to try and look at the areas where the odors are originating and seeing if we can do some kind of a containment action in those areas. So that's something that environmental management is working on. Now, at the same time that we're working on Lahaina, we're also trying to make this a more universal, county-wide type of program. So we're looking at alternative energy production at our landfill, and a lot of the sludge that's being hauled and can be mixed with the green waste, but this can also be used to be able to produce electricity. So we're looking at trying to get companies to come in and take this green waste and the sludge and be able to create electrical power. Now, we've been discussing this with a large number of companies, and what we're finding is that there's a potential of saving the taxpayers close to $1 million if we can get these companies to sell the electricity to the electric company and derive a profit from that. So by changing direction and going into power production using our, what we call our rubbish, it may actually be a cost-saving measure for this community by creating a fuel that can be used to generate electric power. So very shortly, you'll be seeing our environmental department trying to do that. At the same time, those companies, some of them have been willing to come up and work, because they want to work with the sludge as well, work with the odor control units and create the control systems so we can try and alleviate some of the odor problems that you do have. So it's a larger project that's more encompassing, but within the next few months, I believe you'll be seeing, and you'll be hearing about in the newspaper, the request for proposals to get projects like this going. Okay? So it's one way for us to not only take care of problems, work with challenges that we have within the community, but also to cut the costs for the community. When we're looking at, no, Ellie's going to take the channel, the ultraviolet. And council should also take the farmers market, what's happening in legislation there. Okay. Overall, in what we're trying to do, and I'll just kind of tie this up real quickly, there are some major areas that we are working on. We are looking at trying to get to 100% alternative energy here in our community. Currently, the state spends $7 to $8 billion a year on purchasing fuel to be able to produce electrical power. if we as a state can tie together all of the various communities within our state, Maui and the Big Island will be the major producers of alternative energy for the state. I mean, we have the ability to do it. Honolulu does not. And that $7 to $8 billion that we're spending to buy petroleum products from the Far East or some of our enemies right now, we'll be able to keep that within our state and pay for the production of energy for people here to have jobs and for the production of that energy, that power. So as an economic engine, not spending $7 to $8 billion out of state, but keeping it within the state and circulating it is one of our goals. So you're going to see a lot of movement toward this. We as a county have already contracted a firm to put up as many as 8,000 photovoltaic units for a lot of our county facilities. And we're going to be moving very quickly to be able to empower the use of all those photovoltaic cells. Now, our challenge has been that Maui Electric has limited the amount of photovoltaic cells that we can tie into their system. And we're working at the pace that they can generate our ability to tie in. But the contract's already been let. We are going to be doing it as quickly as we can, working with Maui Electric so that we don't disrupt the entire system. Okay? So be patient with us. It is coming. And this is going to be another really good cost-saving measure for our community. We also, Angus talked about it a little bit and Roz a little bit, we have working through our legislature a bill for tax credit for film production studios. Now, the tourist industry, we have certain economic curves that we go through, down periods and up periods, and our construction industry has very similar patterns. Film production will be another economic engine, if we can get this through, that will fill a very different pattern. So when we have problems within our tourist industry, we will not be having a downtime in our film production industry. So we're trying to find these industries that will allow us to be able to balance off our economy in a much more stable methodology. So alternative energy, film production, and also where we're working to try and create a new tourist base for the Pacific Basin. The APEC conference that we just went through earlier this year very clearly has pointed out that the economic engines of the world are the Asian Pacific area. China, Korea, Japan, India, a lot of these Asian Pacific countries for the next unforeseeable generations are going to become stronger and stronger economic powers. As a county, we're trying to get ahead of everybody else rushing over there and trying to establish relationships with those communities because we feel that if we tie into communities that are strong economically and they're the market of the future, they're going to be the consumers, the people that want to buy things, the people that have the money to be able to travel. If we can tie into those kinds of economies, we'll be much more stable in Maui's ability to balance out our worldwide needs. And that's one of the pushes we're making to try and balance out our tourism industry, okay? As well as any products that we can come up with, like our coffee industry, to be able to find a market to sell that coffee to. So those are the venues that we as an administration are working with currently. And because I only have a short time, next time we come back, we'll talk about a lot of the interior things that we're working with, like creating a 242-acre regional park in central Maui, consolidating all of our base yards, and redoing a lot of the departmental structure within the county system to make it more economically viable.